Hello, hello.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to our live. And listen, I'm 2 minutes early, so that gives me 2 minutes to talk longer about what we do.
You know, you want more than 2 minutes longer. You
I
want
know,
two
and we're only
extra
going for
hours.
like 30 minutes. So I'm like, y'all know I can talk to anybody. But welcome to the month of February where we are talking all about our Brandapalooza.
Because why not celebrate fantastic branding and what a brand can do for a company? Like, let's make it a whole event, a whole month.
Yes, and we have had some fantastic brands go out from Lemon Seed all for the whole 6 years we've been doing lemon seed, but specifically over the last year or two, we've really pumped out some really good brands that are more than just a logo. They really are
Mm,
building strong foundations in their communities. And so, Lemon Seed has a brand accelerator program kind of framework that we use to really push brands to move faster and get more well known sooner. And sometimes that's with the mascot, and sometimes it's not.
correct. Yeah. Being in this space, a lot of our customers, they're all in the space too, to where they're seeing what everyone else is doing, and they're feeling like, oh, it's a trend, is it going to go out, and like everybody's doing it. And so sometimes we get feedback like that, and so we kind of want to dissect that a little bit today and be like, is that the only way of how to do it? Is it truly that everybody's doing it, or is it just that, like, those are just the ones you notice?
Yeah. And
Like,
yesterday Emily brought up a good thought. Really, people will call us and say, I absolutely am not a mascot person. I do not want a
I don't want a
mascot.
cheesy
And
character.
then when they look at everything, they're like, but I like all of these that have a mascot. So
And I'm
I'm
like,
like,
okay, you know.
and so I think one of these things is like, telling people kind of honest feedback of, you're really not, unless you are your own target market, which can be a challenge. It's half one way and half the other with people that like will claim that they love mascots. But go to Disney World and walk around. There is adults, babies, older people, elderly. Everybody is hugged up against Mickey and Minnie and Goofy and all the characters because there's just something about a mascot.
Well, and they'll say, well, that's for kids, but
Okay.
every single college team has a mascot. Every single NFL professional sports team has a mascot. And you know why? Is because it gives more things to the brand. You have more to work with. The mascot has a name, it has a personality, a character, and those can represent the personality and the values of your company. It just gives you more to work with than just this actual logo itself.
Absolutely. So before we get really good and going, wherever you're watching us live from, please go and comment your favorite mascot. Maybe you already love a mascot, you love a
Tony the
character.
Tiger from
Oh my
Frosted Flakes.
gosh.
It could be.
Spoken like a true 90s baby. But Rainbow Bright, like
Spoken like an 80s
I
baby,
know it,
okay?
but
Like, I
like
don't even know who Rainbow
Well,
Bright
first of
is.
all, Rainbow Bright's not a mascot. First of all, she is
Okay.
a character. But I dressed up as her at
That's
our
the old
80s
that was
event.
the first time I'd ever heard of Rainbow Bright.
Y'all don't be mad and somebody help me out. But at the end of the day, we want to know, number one, if you have a home service company and you have a mascot, please tell us about them. We love to hear about them in your comments, no matter where you are. If you're joining us on TikTok Live, same thing. We want to know, what mascots are you loving? Tag those brands. Tell us about it, because there's a reason that we love them. So we are going to jump right into, why do we think mascots keep popping up? Well, I will say right now they are very trendy. Okay, whether we like it or not. But as you just saw, mascots have been around literally forever. Since branding was a thing, people have been associating characters with a brand. Now, you do not have to have a character. We have designed, and we as a stretch, okay, I can't design anything. Could never open Adobe Illustrator, okay? But in the grand scheme of branding, there has been designs come out of Lemon Seed Marketing that are fantastic brands that do not have a mascot. They have some other cool factor, a cool color. What did you teach me yesterday? A letter mark. I might have made that up.
No, that's a type of logo,
A
a
letter
letter mark.
mark,
Yeah.
So some unique things that are really, really unique that aren't a mascot.
Well, I mean, I would argue to say that Lemon Seed has a fantastic brand, and we don't have a mascot. But we
Yeah.
have bold, recognizable colors. We have thematic elements to us, like, let's sip some lemonade. We're gonna be zesty, things like that. So there are ways to have a fantastic brand without an actual mascot.
So I love what they're saying. The beaver from Bucky's. That's a great one, right? That's a great one. Then we have some of our clients, Spot On Pest Control. Y'all know that's my family's company. We have Johnny. So thank
Johnny
you,
on the spot.
Johnny on the spot. So he just kind of is a thing. And I just think it doesn't also have to be like, I know this is going to sound corny, but it doesn't have to be some overly illustrated thing. Your mascot might be a very strong, like warrior style thing. Or again, I think mascots, again, nobody crucify me on this, but I think the cuteness of mascots is what makes them so relatable.
Sure, it makes them friendly, it makes them approachable, okay?
Yep.
This is what I try to tell contractors sometimes is like, okay, someone has an actual problem and, depending where you're at, it could potentially be like life or death problem. Like if it's 110 degrees out in Texas in July and someone is without AC, that is life or death, okay?
Yeah. Yep.
You
Yep.
you have to so like this is already a very stressful moment. You've probably got the woman of the home that's calling to make the appointment to try to get someone out there. She's already stressed. She's like, I don't know what the problem is. I can't talk technical terms to you, but like something's broken, something's not working. Like, I just need somebody out there. We want to appear very approachable. We're here to help solve your problems, not overly technical. People can get onto us like, that's not the type of wrench we use.
Yeah.
I'm or we
Hey,
need
those gauges are the old analog gauges and not electric gauges. We're
like
like, a homeowner don't freaking give two craps.
they don't, but then also like I'm not trying to appear that like I'm going to come in and like educate you. Like that's not the right type of tool, things like that. So again, how can we appear approachable, friendly? We're here to solve your problems.
Yeah.
That's what it can.
Yeah.
And
Now,
it's just
listen, in July, when it's 100 degrees and you're like, okay, it's hot. Nobody wants a kangaroo mascot hopping up their driveway, okay, and being like super corny and fun. But listen, you have to dig your well before you're thirsty. So, contractors, business owners, you need to listen to us right now. Mascots are done for remembrance. Okay. And so even if you are not that personality style, so I'm going to be careful what I say here because we both want your brands to be very authentic to who you are. But in that same breath, you do not have to be this overly goofy, happy-go-lucky, silly personality to have a mascot. Mascots do that for you. They lighten up the brand. They bring a fun sense of energy back to it. So again, you see, we can also do that in colors. So I'm going to say that a bunch today, but as we walk through building your brand for you and what's authentic and what's true, it becomes where, and there's a comment on our YouTube right now talking about a business that was founded by a dad. This is not a first time we've heard this before. This actually was one of our one of our clients that were in this same thing, Royal Air, which there's a podcast that we did with Royal Air. When Royal Air came on during COVID, the dad, the patriarch of the family had passed away, and they thought they wanted him as a brand. Emily and her team created a beautiful, I would say, like Norman Rockwell's, like the vibe.
It was a very like realistic illustration of him, not like an overly cartoony thing. It was a very realistic nod to him.
But then they thought about it and were like, you know what, we want to lean more into royal, and so again, it's a journey, right? It's a process. Building out a brand or even refreshing your brand, adding a mascot, whatever you wanted to do, it's a journey.
Yeah, and there's also ways of how you can have a mascot or a character as a part of your brand without it being in the main logo. So Michael on YouTube is saying, "Hey, Michael from Cleveland,
Yay.
But talking about his dad and the family company and how he liked what we did with Skagit. Well, in the main Skagit branding, like in the actual logo itself, is not a character, but we did illustrate Mark, the owner of the company, as Mr. Skagit, Mr. 360 is what we named this little character, this alter ego. And he is very secondary to the brand. So it's an element of it. It's a piece of it, but he shows up a little bit more in all their community support type things.
Yep.
When they're doing give backs, Skagit Cares giveaways, things like that. That's where that little character might pop up and you might see him more, but it's not in the main brand logo itself. It's a piece of it. The colors match it. It feels authentic in the same style of it. Like it is not a Norman Rockwell illustrated painting type thing. It has a very cool vibe, but it doesn't have to be in the actual main logo itself. But one thing I also want to say is like, whether it's a person or if it's after an actual person itself, like the patriarch of the family, it doesn't necessarily have to be. A character can also represent values that your company might have. So like, hey, we want to be the first one that's going to be out to your home. So like, we're going to guarantee that we're going to be very speedy. We're going to prioritize this. We're not going to be like, well, We can get to you between today and, next Thursday. Like, no, we want to be known for our timeliness and our speed. So like, maybe do you have a jackrabbit as your main logo, or as the character, the mascot? Do you have a cheetah, a leopard, whatever that might be that could represent that? Maybe you want to represent how knowledgeable and how skilled your company is. Then you might want to have an owl mascot or something like that. So like, you can use these to tell stories about the values and the priorities that your company has. So it doesn't necessarily have to be around an actual person. You could use it to your advantage to tell that story. That's when a mascot will work for you.
Absolutely. And listen, and again, I go on this because, we added a mascot at my family's heating and air conditioning company 45 years after we'd been in business. We added Sailor Mac. We were getting ready to private label equipment. We needed something gritty. This is just how I explain it. I needed something that we could sink our teeth into when it came to how we message things, how we go to market in the community, how we show up. And
just to create more excitement to it.
Yes. And so, to Emily's point, it does not have to be a part of your main logo, but instead an accompaniment, something that really elevates and gives you something to hang on to. And so character creation, mascot creation is actually one of our favorite things to do. But normally what we encourage people to do is refresh that logo in general. Again, refreshing a logo does not mean a major change, but I do want to hurt y'all's feelings for a minute. Very rarely, I'm so sorry, we're going to look like snobs, but very rarely does a company come to us and we're like, oh my gosh, this is a fantastic brand. Odds are we get a very plain brand. So, and sometimes we get terrible brands. So I love every home service contractor, but I'll tell you what happens when you got started. This is normally what happens when you got started and you went to file your license. They said, what's your name? And you're like, Williams Electric. Like, because that wasn't important at the time.
Sure.
You were a really good electrician or pest control guy, and you were just chomping at the bit to get started. And now you look back and you're like, oh, okay, now I need to like really have something to hang on to. And so we can refresh things that are simplistic, that you want to just refresh, maybe the color palette or the font needs to be updated. Some of y'all look like 1997. And some of y'all look like 1967. And there's all these different like styles and things that branding can really be a lot of fun if you get yourself in the right headspace.
Well, and this is an analogy that it may land with you guys, it may not, but you have to update your hairstyle every now and then. Same person, but you can tell when someone is still rocking the same hair from 1980 with their poofy frizzy bangs and big perm pushed out. Like, you already take them a little bit less serious because they look outdated. They don't look relevant. They don't look like what they're with today's time. But like, you can see that same person.
They're out of style.
They're out of style. Right. Yeah. They may not have the most innovative solutions for me. Things like, even if I was just talking to a person based off their hairstyle. Okay. Same way of how you just need to refresh things. So like, same person, I can still recognize that was Crystal back in 1980 with your bowl cut.
Yes.
Alice.
And I had Sally Jesse Raphael red glasses. I just want to know if anybody remembers that. Sally Jesse, I'm still mad at my mom, but it's fine.
But, you have modified things to where you look more relevant today. So I can still tell that that's Crystal, but things have slightly modified, refreshed, things like that. Same thing with outfits, clothes, style. It goes like that. You need to refresh your brand so that you can still look relevant. Okay. And people will come on and they'll argue, well, you preach about consistency. Why would I change this? You need to refresh things so that you can still look relevant in today. Google any major brand, okay? Coca-Cola, Nike, Google, all of them have refreshed their logo, okay? None of them have like completely stripped. We're like, I don't know how we got from A to B. Like, we completely started over, but there have been refreshments added to it.
Well, here's the other thing that happens, right? They'll go, everybody knows me by this logo. Oh. And I'm like, well, unfortunately, they do because they know you as, they've learned your name, but I promise you, they have no attachment to your look. And Correct. So they've learned your name. So your logo and your van wraps and like even like your headers on your websites and social media, like if I go look at those, sometimes they do not resonate with me. I just remember them when I need them at times. But anytime, listen, take it from people that do this. I do this. Lemon Seed does this. Emily does this every single day. We take new brands and launch them into existing markets and take over, dominate within 12 months. because we have such a memorable, unique look. We clean everything up. We're going to clean up your van wraps. We're going to clean up all of the look and feel of your brand. We're going to go into the market. We're going to go to the community things. And when we do that, a mascot just honestly, it just speeds it up, to be honest, but it
Well,
just keeps you from being like lost in that. Well, everyone knows me as this.
no, I will promise you, when you get something that's more refreshed, that looks great and super, they will celebrate with you. Oh my gosh, y'all look so great. I'm so happy for you. Listen to one of our latest podcasts from the Yellow Chairs, our podcast hosted by Lemon Seed. And I was talking with one of our clients who just recently rebranded out of Georgia. And she's like, we were very scared because everyone knew us as this. Like, are people going to like this new look? And she's like, we were very scared. But she's like, I was blown away how much people were embracing the new look, how much people were celebrating it. Like, people were stopping us in the grocery store. Like, I'm so happy for you guys. Y'all are doing great things. She's like, I was blown away. She's like, I was not expecting that to come from the rebrand. And so people are not going to like, I missed the old logo. No, they're going to celebrate with you.
I missed your kidnapper van.
Yeah, no. They're gonna be like, man, you look sharp now.
Yeah.
Like, I love seeing your vans around
I
town.
love that little character. I love the duck, and Kate, again, so Emily did one with Rowell, which is a company that we rebranded in Georgia. I did one with Kate, which is a company we rebranded in Massachusetts, right?
Yeah.
So totally different stories and business models, but at the end of the day, they're doing some really cool things. And we've worked with legacy brands, Shanklin, which is another podcast dropping pretty soon. Shanklin is Ohio, and they added a character, and they'd been in business
long time,
something years, probably at the time,
since the 70s, I think.
Yeah. I mean, doing great things. A great company. No, they were not in a detriment. Like, oh my gosh! But he told me, he said, I realized that we needed to freshen up, and we needed to add something to our brand. So this is a great opportunity right now. So Lemon Seeds people behind the scenes will post on here. If you've been considering a rebrand, fill out our form. Lupita would love to show you like what it looks like to work with us to help you build a rebrand. And remember, Lemon Seed's not just a logo. We're definitely going to implement our accelerator style program of how we help you not only just, again, create an authentic brand, but how you launch it with collateral, how do you go to market with it, and all that cool stuff. So they'll put that in the chat. One of our team will pretty soon, and then pop it up on the screen. Just, it's a quick little form, but it allows you to meet with Lupita and talk through that. And again, Emily mentioned our podcast from the Yellow Chair. We would love for you guys to also follow us on that podcast and get to see that too. And we're doing a webinar the week of February 18th with Renee Lucas from LCS, which has been with us for a very long time. And we're going to be doing a webinar with her talking about her process of, she's had to rebuild her company. She has they've had lots of obstacles that they've overcome operationally and come out better on the other side. We rebranded them. We've been helping them with their strategy. And she recently, in the last year or so, hired an internal marketer to come alongside Lemon Seed. So a great story about following our true marketing accelerator roadmap of how we can help you really build a true roadmap of marketing strategy and branding to overall really win your market. So, I think that when you're really trying to have a play in your community, mascots are also super helpful. And so we have several vendors that we work with to help people actually get their mascot made into a true life-size character,
like a costume.
Yeah. So if you like to look at that, like Spot On Pest Control on social media in East Texas, we have Johnny the Ladybug. You can go check him out. Royal Air in Massachusetts, you can go check her out. They have Reggie the Lion. M&M Roofing, again, another local client of ours, has an armadillo. And so lots of those. But, we love a mascot approach just because I think it just like makes our life so much easier.
Well, it just gives you more to work with in your marketing. And here's the thing, plumbers and HVAC, you guys have a very long customer life cycle. Like, it's not every day that like I'm just calling a plumber just for fun, or like it's every 8, 10, 12 years that they might need you for something big. They might call you every 3 or 4 for some service or some repairs, but like, you have to stand out and be in this for the long haul. You have to be very memorable so that whenever they do have that time of need, you want to be the first one that they think of. Well, think about this. How often do you look at someone, you're like, I recognize your face, but I cannot remember your name? people will do that about your company as well too. Like, I know what are the, I don't even know what to Google search, but like, I recognize them from that lion or from that armadillo, whatever.
Ladybug, whatever, yeah.
It will make them more memorable by them recognizing that face of that character, whatever it might be. It will stick in their brain and resonate a lot more than if they only saw a logo of some text on a vehicle wrap or on a billboard that's flying by. There's nothing for them to hang on to stick and live in their mind rent free, if you will. But a character, a mascot, gives a human element that the visualization of a face sits much differently, sits in a different place of your brain than just a word does. And so it will instantly make you more memorable to help you win out in that long-term marathon strategy that we're talking about.
Well, and listen, like you said the word strategy, and this is where everything comes into play, honestly, with Lemon Seed especially. Like strategy is what most people lack. So what they do is they're like, you know what, I want a mascot. And then they're like, oh, we really don't use
we didn't name it, or like
we're not going to name it. I'm like, this dog, we're not going to give the dog a name. How do we want people to make a connection when like this is a dog with no name? Like that is a better campaign than actually not giving the dog a name. And so there is strategy with every single thing you do. There is intentionality, or there should be. There should be, because right now what happens, I know, and I made a video about this earlier today, I just haven't posted it yet, but as a contractor, Emily and I could throw 10 hats out here and you have to wear every single one of them. You're the ops guy, you're the pricing guy, you're the HR guy, you're the one that's dealing with your own, like, I got to get my parking lot repaved, I got to get a new van, I got a flat tire. Like, that is exhausting. And so what happens, especially with marketing, it's almost annoying, because you're like, God, I know I need to pay for it, but I don't even know if the crap's working.
Yeah.
And here I am over here in the slow times. So Lemon Seed was truly built to help take one of those hats off the head. But honestly, it's all about strategic approach to being successful and implementation of different strategies, including a mascot. So it's a tool to help you reach your strategic goals. And I know that sounds kind of fluffy, but honestly, if we're like, we really want to own the community, you're going to hear me say most times, we probably need to add a mascot. And again, not even to your existing brand. It doesn't have to be a part of your logo as much as it can be an accompaniment, like we mentioned.
Well, and then again, as you're talking about the owners wearing all these hats, and like, oh, I got to go to this banquet again. I got to go set up at the Touch a Truck. I got to go do that. Like, when you have a mascot, that can become your spokesperson.
That's it. That's what happens.
And whoever is inside of that little, we don't know. We don't know if Johnny showed up or not, or the owner, because the mascot showed up, and that is the designated spokesperson for that company. And so you can get a little bit more life out of it, to where your company is still represented. You're still very much on brand. People are loving and engaging, because why would my kid not want to run up to a giant ladybug than with you, the owner, Mike? Like,
Well, we have a rebrand client that just launched a chimp. Not a monkey, a chimp, because he loved chimps. And to be honest, like, it is truly he loved them. It was so reflective of him. And like, it's going to be very quirky, because he lives like in the mountains of
Virginia.
Yeah. And so like, then there's this chimp, but again, it's so quirky that now people are gonna be like, I can't believe y'all have a chimp. It's funny and it's engaging. And when you launch those things, I think it's another way for you to show your personality and show some editorial branding as well. I was talking to a client yesterday. We do a 3-month check-in with our clients. So after they've been with Lemon Seed for 90 days, we stop and check in with them. And she's like, here's some things I want to work more on, but I love this brand style that we're headed down. Can we alter some of this language? And I said, you know what? We can certainly alter your brand, your editorial brand around, like Johnny. We say all the time, Johnny was on the spot. Rufus is the name of the armadillo for the roofing company, right? Chimpo is his name, right? Something like that. And so anyway, there's some cool things that you can do with that really can expand and deepen what your brand messaging is. Again, sounds kind of corny, but until you're the one writing strategies and creative campaigns, you do not realize how impactful. Like, one day, the designer on our team, I was looking through some stuff and I was like, I don't know how for them to be creative with this, your name in red and heating and air conditioning in blue. Like, there ain't even a snowflake for us to hang on to. Like, there's nothing here. And blue and red, I hate to break it to y'all, from a person that is blue and red, that's not unique anymore. A snowflake, a fire, none of that is unique. And so we've got to think outside the box. But again, Lemon Seed is yellow. Do you know how many lemon things people send us, me and Emily?
I
I mean,
mean,
it's a blessing. It's a
there's a
blessing.
lemon pen, there's a lemon
There's a
light right
lemon
there.
keychain.
There's a yeah.
We work closely with Ripley PR personally and for other clients. And she sent me a beautiful like lemon cup the other day. And I was just looking through these things and I was like, you know why? Because it's people have made the connection. They love things yellow. My sister sent me a text the other day of a link to some yellow shirts because yellow and lemons are our thing. We do not have a dancing lemon. I would love to make Lupita dance in a lemon costume at a show.
It's coming.
But we have a mascot. We more have an icon, right, of a lemon. But honestly, when we get ready to write things, is it squeezy? Is it juicy? Is it yellow? What is it? Right.
Zesty, yeah.
But instead, we don't have to reinvent everything every time we go to do it. When we're building, like we call things our yellow playbook. That's our playbook, our strategic guide that we have for all of our clients. And again, it just made life easier. And so I just want to say it honestly might be a little rough up at the front to like, okay, I need to reimagine my brand. But once you do it, literally every podcast that I was on, so we kind of split it for February. I said, what advice do you have to people that are considering rebranding? And they're like, I wish I did it 5 years ago. I wish I would have done it sooner. And so we rarely have ever, and I'm trying to really give an example of someone that shouldn't have rebranded. I will tell you a company, they didn't rebrand with us, but when they came to us, their biggest issue, Riley from Rowell says, yes, Lupita. But their biggest issue when they came to us is they had done a rebrand with a very reputable company. Okay. So this is not a shot at the company that rebranded them. They themselves had gotten so caught up in their head, they never actually rolled it out, but they kind of had. So they had wrapped a vehicle. And I was like, okay, so you got one vehicle riding around with your new name, but nothing else had changed because we were paralyzed with these ideas. And so it just made me think like you need to buy in up front that you're going to do it, and you're going to do it with as quickly and as intentionally as you can. And you don't have to rewrap every truck. You really don't have to do everything at once. Is it helpful? Yes. But we can build a schedule.
No, a schedule. Now, if you're changing your name, there needs to be some giddy up in that schedule.
Especially
for
on
sure.
van wrap. So I'll hurt y'all's feelings on. So if you've got 10, 20 trucks and you want to change the name of your company, that's the first thing I'm going to ask you. Are you prepared to wrap all 20 trucks, or at least the majority of them?
And get your website rebuilt,
because
updated.
You will hurt yourself way worse because you've got total brand confusion at this point. You've got 2 websites, 2 traffic, and now you're competing with each other on ads. Like, y'all, that can get messy. But again, there's a strategy and there's a schedule and there's a plan. This doesn't have to be scary. You just have to trust the process.
And that's what I would say is like, if you're going to go through a rebrand, people will come to us all the time like, I want what Lemon Seed has, like y'all's branding, y'all stand out everywhere you go, or I want what this contractor has. I say, okay, you can have that if you will be willing to do something a little bit different. Get out of your own sunshine and snowflake, red and blue comfort zone right now that you have right now. You're going to have to be willing to embrace the process. Okay. Trust the experts here and willing to do something a little bit different. Okay. We kind of said this at the very beginning that people will say everybody has a mascot. I would venture to say probably only like 10% of true home service companies in the entire United States of America actually have a mascot. But you know what? They're the ones that stand out, that you notice to where they feel like everybody, because everyone else was so plain and boring. It's in and out. You never even noticed them. You don't even realize the 90% that was still there.
I love it. I mean, and listen, we love it, but we love we're doing a roofing company right now that doesn't want a character. And so there's some cool stuff. So, and again, you really have to turn on your creative juices, but there's a lot of stuff, right? There's a lot of stuff there. So, okay. Final thoughts, final takeaways. So mascots are not required to have a successful brand.
Correct.
Period. End of story. There's lots of cool things you can do. Do they make it easier for some?
Yes.
Yes. But again, our philosophy is you do not have to have a rebrand. And honestly, most of the branding companies that are in our space are not going to be like, you have to have a mascot. But all of us know and do it every single day. And it's more about trusting the process there.
Correct.
Second of all, the goal overall for your brand is to be memorable. Memorable is the key here, right? Because normally when you're memorable, you tend to literally have top of mind. So the majority of the market that you're in is in the very top of the advertising funnel. They don't need your services yet, okay? So they are there, they're in the very top, and they're really just looking around, okay? So you have to show up there, and then you have to do things to be trusted. You need to be putting out content that shows that they can trust you and you're an authority in the space.
Yeah, and then last but not least, like pick what supports your strategy, not what's trendy, not what you saw someone else do. Okay, this needs to work for you, your company, your core values, your team, your culture, your market. Okay, don't get the FOMO of what someone else is doing or think that that is the only path to success and what you see on social media. Make it have a strategic outlook. Work with professionals on it. Lemon Seed would love to help you with this, but make sure that it's yours. Okay, a good brand is one that is authentic to you, that tells your story, but that goes to market to resonate with your consumer. And so make it your own, make it strategic. Lemon Seed is one of those that can definitely help you in doing that, but don't get the shiny eyes
Oh,
of
yeah.
looking to
Shiny
someone
object
else.
syndrome. Absolutely. All right. Last thing. We had to move our conference. Thank you for all of y'all that will still be here. You should be in Lufkin, Texas, March 15th through the 18th at we shifted our conference down. Great speakers, great time for networking. Come and meet some of our partners that have branded with us. If you are, it's only like $5.99 to come to the conference. Now, if you're a limited client, don't forget you actually get a free ticket and then half price on a second ticket, or actually some additional tickets. But if you are not our client and you just want to come and network with people that care about marketing, how you can get re-encouraged and reinvigorated about your marketing and your brand, join us in Lufkin, Texas, March 15th through the 18th. You can find it all out on our website. But if you need help defining your brand personality, thinking about how you can refresh your company and just give yourself a kick in the pants going right into summer, schedule with us right now. Let Lupita tell you about all the options that we have. All types of our rebrands start in about, I think about the $15,000 range for full things, just to give you a range. But guys, when I tell you, we have no problems telling you what we charge because we know the value that comes out of those packages. And it's way more than just a logo. A logo is just one piece of it. You're going to get a full launch plan, a plan, like how do I go to action, true creative concepts, tons of built out collateral, and it's all up front. No second coming behind you and telling you it's a bunch of extra money to add things on. We're very upfront with it, and we have lots of packages to fit lots of different amounts. And so get with Lupita, check it out, mention this, and maybe she can drop you a little discount in there. So mention that you saw us on our live today. But guys, thank you so much for joining us. We will be back, I think, next week with another live about branding mistakes that people make. So we can't wait to see you again. Go follow us and like us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.